Welcome to the Nation to Nation lesson. This is a fun life-size board game where the students will be split into 8 different teams with each team representing a made-up country. Students will be presented with different challenges throughout the game, and they'll have to figure out how to balance the natural resources that they have in their country with the needs of the people living in that country. And they'll be awarded certain points as the game goes on, and the people or the team with the most points at the end will win. There's quite a few materials for this lesson, and they're all located in the Walker Lodge closet where the evening program materials are. So to set up, you'll first want to lay out the game board here, also with the big die that they'll be using during the game. And then you want to separate these materials into 8 different groups. So each group is going to need one card holder, one small dry erase board where you're going to have them write the name of their team, or they can make a drawing that represents their country. And then they're going to need these 2 matching pieces. One is a puzzle piece that they'll put together to make the shape of a globe, and the other is a matching tree cookie that they're going to use to mark their place on the board. You're also going to need to sort out the cards a little bit before you begin. So you can use this handy stand. What you'll need for these are 8 natural resources cards, 8 human needs cards. You're going to need 2 separate piles of Earth dollars. These are positive Earth dollars, and these are when countries go into debt, the red ones. And then there's 5 different issue cards that relate to the colors on the game board. So I'll explain that a little bit later, but to have it all set up like this is nice. So there's 2 separate types of cards. One type is the natural resources cards that you see listed here. These are going to be the white cards plus the compassion cards that are pink. So each team is going to get 2 of each of these cards, and you'll hand those out after you go over some certain terms. Then here are the basic needs cards that the people of your country will need to live, and there's 8 of those also. They don't get those right at the beginning, but you'll do a trade activity before the game begins that I'll talk about shortly. Before you actually get into playing the game, you're going to want to go over a few concepts with the students just to make sure that they understand them. So the first thing you're going to want to ask is, what is a natural resource, or can you think of any examples? And you don't want to tell them exactly what the natural resources are, you kind of want to lead them into it. So many of them, well, all of them are listed here. So they might say things like air, minerals, wildlife, and that's great. Try to get them to name all 8 of those resources. The second question that you're going to want to ask them are, what are some examples of basic human needs that we all need to survive in our country? So they might say things like, I need a computer. You can steer that into technology. Or they might say, we need a microwave, and you can steer that into energy. So try to get them once again to name all those before you begin the activity. The next step in the game is having the students trade their cards. And there's a few different rules to this. They can either trade all of their natural resources cards, they can trade none of their natural resources cards, or they can trade half, however many they want. So you're going to give them about 10 minutes to look at their natural resources cards and decide as a team what they want to trade and what they want to trade it for. So it's a good idea to write on the board the basic needs cards, otherwise they're going to come up and try to look at them. When they do come up to you, they are going to first of all have to explain why they're making that trade. So let's say that they wanted to trade a natural resources plant card for a shelter card. They're going to need to say something like, we need a shelter to survive, and we can cut down trees to make that happen. So then you will take their natural resources card, give them the human needs card, and they also get 200 Earth points for every trade that they make. The exception to that is if they want to trade a compassion card. The compassion card won't earn them any Earth dollars, but they also don't have to explain why they're making this trade. During the game, it's sort of like a get out of jail free card if you're playing Monopoly. So if something were to happen, they can trade this in and they won't lose points or have to give any other teams anything. So like I said, they'll have about 20 minutes, they'll get 200 points for each trade, and after all those trades are made, then it's time to hand out the materials to the different groups. So you'll have the materials set up here. You probably will have people helping with this lesson, so they're good to have help you hand out the different materials. The first thing that you want the students to do is just take a few minutes and pass around a marker and have them come up with a team name, and they'll just hang on to that. Then they're going to take their puzzle piece and they're going to bring it up and put it in the middle of the playing board. Otherwise, if there's not enough room, they can put it to this side too. So they all have to come up and figure out where their piece fits in so it makes a globe shape. And once that's done, you want them to also come up and put their matching piece on one of the red corners. And when you see all 8 pieces on the red corners, then you're ready to actually begin. So once the students have completed the globe puzzle, then it's time to begin. And to start, you're gonna have each group roll the die and see what they get. And whoever gets the highest number starts the game. From then on, you're gonna go clockwise around the room, and you're also gonna move clockwise around the game board when you are moving the pieces. So let's say the first team goes and they get a 4. They'll move, or one of your helpers will move the puzzle piece to wherever they land, and it landed on blue. So you'll take one of the blue issue cards and you'll read it out loud. For example, this one says, "Your country discovers a cure for cancer. If you have a medical card, you earn 300 points. If you do not have a medical card, you owe the game leader 300 points." So whether they have it or not, they will either give the points or get the points, and that's usually how most of the cards work. Once that team's gone, it moves on to the next one, and they are allowed to trade also if they didn't have a medical card. So they get 1 minute to trade with another team after the card is read, and you kind of want to keep it moving along because you're going to want every team to get a chance to go at least 6 or 7 times. So once they've had a chance to play around the board a few times and time's getting short, you're going to want to start the conclusion and make sure you have about 10 or 15 minutes for this, so plan ahead for that. First, you want them to count up how many earth points that they have, and of course whoever has the most earth points will win the game. But then you're going to want to start questioning them to get them thinking about how the game actually applies to real life. So a lot of these questions and prompts can be seen in the lesson plan, but a few examples are, do they regret trading with another team? Was there a certain natural resource card or basic need card that was the most important throughout the game? And then you'll want to ask them how important the balance is between keeping your natural resources and also having enough basic needs for people in your country to survive. Being an environmental leader or even a player in this game really means that you have to be responsible for your country. You can't just pick one or the other. So take a look at the lesson plan and you can see more questions in there. I hope you have fun. The students really get into this game, so the more excited you can be about it, the better time that everybody will have.